I do. Fuck you, Marty.
Hello. I love this woman and her biodegradable potato
Fuck
flakes.
you.
Is that what we're having for Christmas next Christmas lunch?
Well, you are
Hello.
Irish, darling. You are Irish. You do love them taters on account of they didn't grow that time in history.
Um. So, today's the first day of 2024. It's our first live stream, but it's Christmas. I don't know if it's the same over here. Usually, like the fourth to the fifth, is how long we keep our kind of Christmas tree up. Like the
Mhm.
last day, the fourth is usually called Little Christmas. So we're
Oh,
still going to be doing festive flicks, and the festive flick we're looking at today, according to Lovitz, was trapped in bullshit, but it's actually trapped in paradise. Hey, horror cat dad.
hey, welcome.
But yeah, so
Happy New
about this.
Year.
Hey, Van of Horror, how you doing? So Jen, what about those biodegradable potato flakes?
Well, okay, so like you mentioned, this is a holiday movie, and in fact, I might be wrong. The chat or you could correct me, Marty, but I think this was one of the few. I think this might be the only holiday movie Cage ever did. If anyone knows of any others, please correct me. But I think this was the only one. And this film is one that even when I know a lot of Nicolas Cage heads like that are massive, massive fans of the man, and this is a movie that rarely gets talked about, which I find interesting because I like it. Now, Horror Cat Dad mentioned it when we were on our stream last night, but he's like the first person that I've ever heard that's mentioned this movie besides me. It's a comedy, and it's definitely very much Cageisms. And like getting back to why we were talking about potato flakes, biodegradable potato flakes, is the snow, as you brought up, looks super fake. And so they basically brought in some real snow and mixed it with biodegradable potato flakes from Idaho.
Oh, hey
Yep.
Wobbs, we got Wobbs in the chat.
Hey! Hi, Wobbs.
So give us a rundown about the making of this movie, Jen, before we get into the plot.
Well, apparently, like, and I don't know why, because, and the movie, I don't think did gangbusters when it came out. And you would think you have Nicolas Cage, and, he was still pretty, he was big back then. You had Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, who are both Saturday Night Live alums and very funny. But for whatever reason, this movie I don't think did very well. And behind the scenes, they weren't too happy with the script. George Gallo pretty much let Cage direct a good chunk of this movie, and behind the set, everyone was calling it Trapped in Bullshit as opposed to Trapped in Paradise. And I think maybe one of the reasons why, and it's weird, and I think I might be one of the few people with this opinion, I think one of the reasons why this movie didn't work is because I think a lot of people really didn't like Dana Carvey, and I actually really enjoy his
How
performance.
could you not like Dana Carvey's performance in this movie?
And he's basing some of his mannerisms on Mickey Rourke and an executive producer. In fact,
How?
the Fox had to fly down people from executives from California to Canada, or I think Ontario is where they were filming this, and told them to knock it off. But Cage kind of was like, keep doing it anyway," which I kind of can believe. I don't know. This is from John Lovitz, so we don't know how true this is. But according to John Lovitz, he spilled a lot of tea on this movie, and apparently nobody thought. What do you think of it, darling? Because this was your first time
I
watching it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Um, it was again. I don't think this is the only kind of Christmas movie Cage has done. This is probably the first. The second would be Family Man, which is kind of a
Oh, that's right.
Wonderful Life remake.
Yeah, you're
Um,
right.
but
Then it might have been his first. I know it's maybe it was his first Christmas movie cherry. This is where he
mm,
popped his Christmas movie cherry.
I liked most of the cast.
His cherry
Cage,
became uncaged.
Jesus Christ. Um,
Yeah, me too. I see Cora Cat Dad is with me on this. He says Dana Carvey stole the show. I did too. I
I wanted
fucking
to steal the life from Dana Carvey in this movie. One, I don't see how the fuck he's apparently taken off Mickey Rourke. And two, he's so fucking annoying. If I had been one of his brothers in universe, I would have shot him fucking dead.
see, like for me, that like I like him, and I guess his voice would be a little grating. Like his voice might not be for everybody. But as a kid, see, you got to remember, I'm probably
A
looking at
little
this.
grating. A little fucking grating.
Hi, creepy McGee. No, like but I don't mind it, and I think he's having fun. Even though I don't think anyone was too happy making this movie, I think this is a movie that they sort of have fun on because they were given free reign. Like I said, Cage had to direct a good chunk of it. He might as well have had a director's credit in the casting.
Um, Despite my absolute fucking disdain for
There
Carvey in
wasn't
this
one
movie,
time Carvey cracked you up because there's several in it for me where he just cracks me up.
he makes some noises that I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to be? That kind of made me chuckle more out of like befuddlement. I'm like, what the fuck? Because you have it's you have Nick Cage who's like in romantic comedy mode. Then you have John Lovitz who's in fucking
John
Brothers
Lovitz
mode.
mode. He's basically he does
Yeah,
pretty
he's
much
John Lovitz.
everything in every
And then
movie.
you've Dave Carvey, who's like, oh, cool, we're doing a Three Stooges adaptation. And it's like, all these fucking weird noises and mannerisms. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, yeah, Jen told me that as well. Fucking, how?
He gets it down. I never thought about it before, but he does in this movie
Do you
kind of
know what it would
resemble.
have helped his performance if he actually had his face like Mickey Rourke and sustained major facial fucking injuries?
What is it about Dana Carvey that see? And I'm going to have a real hot take, and this doesn't have anything to do with the movie we're talking about. This
Oh,
is just
Jesus.
Dana Carvey in general. I like him better than Mike. Like Mike Myers, he seems like a fine guy and stuff, but I've always liked Dana Carvey way better than Mike Myers. I thought he was always the funnier of the two, and I like him better. And he just seems a wee bit likable. And why is it that every movie of his, unless he's doing like if he's doing just kind of like a side character, he's fine. But stuff he stars in or has a pretty big role in, people seem to hate. Why is that?
Because he's a very grating personality. Like Master of Disguise, it's a shit movie. I watch it ironically, but he's incredibly irritating in that fucking movie as well. It's like, for the love of God, I like, Christ almighty, I cannot stand Dane Cook in Dane Carvey. Jesus, John, I take Dane Cook over fucking Dane Carvey at this
Oh,
fucking stage.
I like his character, and at this time, remember, it was 1994, Marty. I do like, now, I don't think it's a particularly accurate portrayal, but I do like that we have his character being a massive kleptomaniac, and there is some really funny scenes where they use that at least in the comedy section of this movie's advantage, and then I love it. I think it's Dana Carvey who said, oh my God, guns, and he knows that the guns are in there. They're trying to con Cage. Him and Lovitz are basically trying to con Cage. And I just love when he says, oh my God, guns. It's so cute.
There is something very childish about him. I'll give him that. He's trying to again. I just think it's three different. It's three. It's an ensemble cast of three guys who think there are three different types of movies. That's like Nicolas Cage, romantic comedy. John
But
Lovitz,
there is
John
some
Lovitz.
Cageisms. There's some times where he goes pretty much, very
Oh yeah,
cagey.
he's like, we're going to put the money back in the bank right now. It's like,
Yeah, I love that. And then when he gets, and I think the three actually play. Now I don't know how well they liked each other, but the three play off each other really well. I think that is probably the biggest strength of the movie.
look, I'll give Carvey shit till the cows go home. But they do bounce off each other really well, considering all of them think they're in three different genres of comedy.
What do you think of Lovitz? He's basically just being Lovitz.
John
But
Lovitz
he
is John
doesn't know.
Lovitz
No
in
one can do it
everything he
better.
play. John Lovitz is the critic in John Love. He's John Lovitz in everything he does, be it the critic, be it Simpsons,
Tales from
be
the
it
Crypt.
fucking Loaded Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just John Lovitz. There's no
Yeah. He's amazing, and he's actually, he's actually can do Shakespeare. A lot of people don't know this. He actually can do Shakespeare pretty well.
I used to not like John Lovitz, but then I heard he fucking choked out Andy Dick for making a joke about Phil Hartman
Mm-hmm.
at a fucking party. Because I don't know if you noticed, John Lovitz and Phil Hartman were like the best fucking buds ever.
I didn't know
And
that.
Lovitz kind of fucking Lovitz told a story again, spilling tea, totally off the reservation here, about how Andy Dick convinced Hartman's wife to get off her prescription medication. And then at fucking Hartman's funeral, Hartman was joking about it and going, I guess I shouldn't have told her to get off the meds. And and again, this is John Lovitz went up and essentially choked out Andy Dick at fucking Phil Hartman's funeral. So yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it. He seems like, I know he plays an asshole and he plays one very well, but I think underneath it all, he's probably a pretty nice guy. That's how I've always perceived him. Is he plays an asshole really well, but underneath it all, he's probably a pretty cool dude. I like him. I've always liked him.
He seems to be like, again, I was like, oh, this guy's a bit. Then I heard that story and I'm like, you know what? Fair fucks John Lovitz, because Andy Dick's an asshole.
What did you think of Cage's performance in this?
Cage was good. Cage was basically, because Cage had done a bunch of these roles around this time, be it Moonstruck or be it, what's the one where he's the cop who gets the lottery ticket?
It Could Happen to You. It actually came out the same year, I believe.
Yeah. He was kind of this for the longest period of time. The kind of romantic comedies were kind of his grift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, would you call Moonstruck romantic comedy?
I would, but you know me. So yes, I actually think it's a very romantic movie. Snap out of it. This one, there is that romantic foil in this movie, but one of the reasons why I like this movie so much is we go way harder in the comedy. And I was talking to you last night about this when we were watching it. You don't see these kind of situational comedies as much as you used to. These were bigger in the 80s and 90s. And would this movie work? Because there is some things that probably today's audiences might, wave flags at and go, whoa, for the time period.
I don't think it's the biggest offender about this. For example, like some of the characters are either on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Dane Carvey's character, there's definitely some kind of developmental issue on top of his kleptomania. The sheriff's son, and there's a moment between Carvey and the sheriff's son where they're like, hey, I'm like you. And it's like, okay, that's endearing. That's meant to be endearing.
Well, I guess for the 90s, it was kind of supposed to be endearing. And, they're not dicks about it and stuff, which I like. And Cage is like, he's cagey, but we've seen him go off the rails harder in other movies. Yeah. This is one where he goes off a little bit. And I don't know if this was a fun movie to make. I don't know. Like I said, they didn't sound like they had that good a time, but I find that hard to believe because I think they are having a good time. Just the way the three of these guys play off each other. It's pretty good. And Florence Stanley, who plays their mother, she does a lot of sitcom work. Most people know her for her voice. She's really good as a mother. You were cracking up when she was telling him, they kidnapped me on the night baby Jesus was born.
She was funny. She was funny. It was like, what was it? Your man was asking her questions and stuff, and it's like, can you ever shut your mouth? You ever shut my mouth? You want to sleep with me? And it's like. It's like,
Ma, and then like I and then see
Hey,
Dana.
Kara.
Hi. When Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, because they're convicts, they're coming home, and and you get the feeling that Nicolas Cage at one time was like these guys, and he went straight. He's trying to
Yeah, he
straighten
turned
out
his
his
life
life.
around.
And they're con men, and they're trying to con their brother, and they're having this kind of heartwarming scene of them, eating dinner back with their family, with their mother, and she's like, boy, when you boys were home, you couldn't even move in this apartment. TV, VCRs, it's a cute scene.
I miss all the creature comforts. It's like, I don't know. You
Mom,
kind
does
of got
you
the
miss some
feeling she
more?
turned a blind eye, but she kind of. I do like the intro to the characters because you've Cage who finds a wallet with $800 and he's pacing back and forth, and then he goes into the fucking priest, and the priest's just like, "Is that you, Frippo? Is that you, William Frippo?" And he's, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's telling him his confession, and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for salvation. Salvation. How many syllables is that?" and the priest is doing the fucking crossword in the confession box.
You can't tell me that hasn't happened in real life many times over.
I told Jen a story about a friend of mine who went to a confession. He was doing his confession and he saw a green glow from inside the confession. What the fuck is that? Next thing he heard, "Dee, dee, 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 dee." And he's like, he came out and I remember him meeting me later on. I think the priest was playing fucking Game Boy in the fucking confessional.
You imagine it to be much more sacred and holy than that. Or I
Once
hope
you get bored sitting down,
I
why?
suppose so. Another thing about this movie, again, that's very much of its time is the town of Paradise itself, because this town is all, even for the 90s, this town, I mean, it's sweet, but is it almost diabetic coma sweet? Because these people are so good as gold, and they, everything that happens in this movie. Would modern audiences roll their eyes at Paradise today if we had presented it pretty much like we
Um,
did back in the 94? In the 94.
I t- back in the '94.
Fuck off.
Um,
Hey, it's cool to say. I was there. I can say it that way, damn it. I was there.
um, I think this still works because we still watch things like fucking. I'm surprised because this is a Fox movie and it's not on Disney Plus. This would be a nice movie to watch for Christmas and maybe let little kids because there's nothing too gratuitous, like even swearing and stuff. There's nothing too kind of like gratuity. You could let little kids watch this.
I was a little kid when this movie came out. I want to say I was in the 9-ish, 10-ish range, and I remember renting this movie, and and I had forgotten it was a Christmas movie till we were rewatching it. It had been so long since I'd seen it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is also a Christmas movie. And I think like the biggest laugh that I got out of it is when Nicolas Cage, when they're getting kind of trapped, and they're trying to find the money on them and stuff. And so as a diversion, Nicolas Cage grabs a gun off of a cop, and he's like, oh, and starts shooting, and then, oh my god, he's got a gun. And
It
I
is
love
it is
Nicolas
in the
Cage.
most Nicolas Cage way possible.
And again, but you kind of wonder, would that fly today? Because guns have changed a bit since 94.
Yeah,
A random person shooting a gun in a crowded thing.
yeah, that scene might have to be moved or curtailed or something. But
But it's one of the funny. I remember that line and Dana Carvey's line of, oh my, both of them involve guns. I'm really showing my yank tonight. Both of the two biggest laughs I got involved lines with guns.
one other laugh I liked was where fucking they're robbing the bank. So essentially, the plot is, as Jen was saying, the three brothers go to a place called Paradise because one of the guys gets intel that there's a bank there that's like fucking soft as ice cream to fucking rob. So they go in, and the bank manager's on lunch break. So Cage goes
Oh yeah,
across, and he,
to
he
the
he goes across
diner.
with the younger brother to Alpha, and he goes, "Okay, does people not realize this is a robbery?" And this poor, adorable little old lady's going towards the till. "Where are you going?" And she's like, "It's a robbery. I'm getting you money." "No, miss, I'm robbing the bank." And she's like, "But the bank's across the street." It's like,
There is some really this movie, I will say, like, I like this movie a lot, but even as a kid, I thought the movie did drag it. Like, it could have been chopped down just a little bit in some it's a little long in the tooth, but there is some really great pockets of humor in it that I remember as a kid. There was a few lines that just had me rolling. I
I
thought was really funny.
I do think there is some stuff that kids would find funny. I find it funny in an eye rolling kind of way. For example, when they go over to the diner, Carvey is like, "Ooh, what's that you're eating?" He's like, "Oh, it's Parmesan," and he hands the guy the shotgun, and he's
Oh
ladling
yeah,
it into his mouth.
don't hold back on that gravy, Ma. And are they supposed to be from Boston? Because that's at least Cage
It
and
says New
Carvey.
York.
Lovitz
I don't know.
isn't.
I
To me,
think
I get more of a Boston feel every time I watch. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I get, at least from Carvey and Cage.
I,
Lovitz is doing Lovitz.
I don't know what the fuck Carvey is doing. Carvey is doing
Why
fucking
do you hate
Nickelodeon.
Carvey so much?
I I don't hate Carvey. I just hate the character. Carvey's doing a fucking Nickelodeon character from the fucking late 90s. Carvey is a SpongeBob character that somehow blundered into this fucking movie.
Would the movie be better or worse without him?
Here's the weird thing, and here's going to make me a hypocrite. I don't think it'd work without him. I still think he's annoying as fuck, but he is an intricate part to the fucking kind of movie and stuff. Why do they keep on? So they rob the bank and they make numerous attempts to escape paradise, hence the title. And uh, they keep on letting Carvey's character of Alvin, the brother Alvin, drive. And it's like,
Oh yeah,
it's
that's a funny scene too.
multiple scenes, Jen. They're driving. He goes, Alvin, I'm sure we passed that barn before. No, I done what it said in the map. I I took four lefts. Four lefts. That means you're going in a circle. Oh, okay.
Are you sure? The scene that cracks me up with his driving is the beginning when he's, because he's the getaway and stuff, and he gets pissed off at his brothers when he said, or no, he's in a traffic thing and he's getting pissed off at people, and his brothers are trying to get in the car and he hits the accelerator. Fuck you.
He just drives off, and the lads are like, "What the fuck?" And then he stops, and then the lads are almost at the car, and he starts to get. I'm like,
And John Lovitz, when he finally gets in the car, goes, "I hope we didn't go out of your way."
I was like, I hate Carvey's character. He's like one of the Three Stooges, or he's like the Marx Brothers from Duck Soup. That's why I kind of like this. There is Three Stooges, Marx Brothers, and like
So.
fucking Cage is Groucho, and the other two were just fucking, God Almighty. Um, like the bit I was a bit worried because there is a scene where they use a horse and sleigh to escape, and the lads are about to leave again. They're about to get out, and the fucking ice breaks under the sleigh, and it starts dragging the horse into the water. And they're like, "Oh, for fuck!" And they go to rescue him. And again, I grew up on a farm. I was like, Jen, if this fucking horse dies, that's all I'm going to be talking about during the fucking stream, because I don't like anything happen to horses, and I don't like I don't like stuff happening to animals in movies. But if a horse died, they saved the horse. And again, it's cool because it's cool. It's schmaltzy, but it's cool. The longer the lads stay in the town, the
The more
better
it
they
rubs off on
become.
him.
Yeah, because like it's like, oh, the lads robbed the bank, and they're staying with Donald Moffat, who you'd know as Gary from fucking The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the head of the bank, and his family takes him in, and they're so fucking nice. And Cage and the lads are like, "Oh shit, why are they being so nice to us?" And he's like, "Oh, you're lucky you weren't here earlier on. The the bank was robbed. Oh, you're okay. You're insured. Oh no, that's not the bank's money. That's the town's money. We need it for the town. And the lads are like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" So they try to leave, and like they try to get a bus. And Cage is like, "Oh, I need." He has a bag full of money, but there's cops running around. And the woman, the clerk, is like, "Oh, here, I'll give you my money to get the tickets." And he's like, "No, please, no, 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 it's okay. You want to get home to see your mama." And as again, they go on, and these people are so fucking nice to the lads.
Yeah, and then you can see that the town really affects them, and that makes them go back and try to give the money back. And
Yeah,
again, like I said, I don't know if some people, modern audiences, would roll their eyes and think, "Wow," but it's very sweet, and there's enough humor in it to kind of take out the smaltiness of some. And again, I don't think it's too smalty. I actually like the scene with the horse because, like, they're gonna just leave it, and then Cage goes, "Oh God," sees him really struggling, and God damn it, and and even Love, it's like, we don't need you anyway. He's trying to get a ride, and they're like, we
yeah,
don't need you anyway.
yeah. But it's nice. I like he is a criminally small part, but he's good in what he's in, and he hadn't reached his comedic heights. Richard Jenkins, as this FBI agent who's just fucking like is like between the deputy and the deputy store owner who keeps on turning up at the most sus occasions, and the lads leave and try to leave the money back at the bank. He's like, "What the fuck is going on in this town?" He's literally, "What is going on in this town?" And like he gets so fed up, like he's like that fucking deputy again, and he just shoots the tires out the deputy's truck. He's just funny. Like my favorite moment is the bank manager family have this absolutely gorgeous looking whippet or greyhound with
Mm-hmm.
sea legs. They storm in to rescue the family, and the dog comes hobbling out. And Jenkins is like, "Did we do that?" Oh God, I hope we didn't do that.
There is a lot of weird humor in this movie. There's another scene with with these two guys, and they're like deputy sheriffs, but they're thinking they've kind of figured out it's Cage and Lovitz and Carvey who have the money, and they're kind of trailing them, and they're thinking about maybe double crossing them and taking the money and stuff. And we open up in this scene where they're running this kind of convenience store thing, and the one guy's just at the register, and his friend is sitting there with like a kid's puzzle book, and he's like, "Try that with the cheese." And that scene with the maid,
Yeah.
I thought that was really a funny scene.
That was another weird character who's like, "Is this dude supposed to be on the spectrum? Will you stop shadowing me?" No, 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 okay. How about you bag the stuff? But you can do that. Oh, for the love of Jesus!
All of it, just the stuff you haven't become emotionally attached to.
Attached to. I like that line.
I did
Is
too.
um, I would have loved if Daniel Moffat's character had been tied up, and everyone forgot about him. Like when the FBI raids the place and goes, "Can I not spend this winter tied to this fucking couch?" That would have made it for me, but obviously you couldn't. But no,
It's a cute movie. Do you know why people don't talk about this one, especially big Cage fans?
um, I'd say Carvey. No, no. Honestly, I think it's that there's a lot of Cage kind of romantic comedies that are kind of like fucking lost and buried to time. Again, the one with the lottery ticket and stuff is
Mhm.
because he done a bunch of those as well, right?
He
Like,
did do a lot of a romantic and to varying degrees of success, but people forget that for a while he was a romantic lead in some of these movies. I actually, controversial opinion, I really like City of Angels, which I know is just a ripoff of another movie, but still, I like City of Angels.
Kara says she only heard this. She never heard this movie up until now.
That's okay. Not me. Even again, big Cagehead fans. A lot of people don't bring this one up, and it's one of I really enjoy. Like again, it is a movie that there. It's one of those movies that is that you some comedies stay there overstay their welcome, and this is one that I think we could have cut maybe 15-20 minutes out of it. It might have been a little bit stronger of a movie, but there is enough humor in it. Even back all these years, there were parts that had me cracking up. You know.
I I enjoy this. I think this would be a great movie to show kids around Christmas. I don't know,
Yeah,
like nine
I
or
forgot
10.
it was a Christmas movie.
Yeah, like it's again, it's not. There's nothing in it that's like there's
There's a
there's
little swearing, and that's about it. Even
yeah
our romantic thing, you know, that there's nothing good true. There's nothing even on that end of it where it's
yeah.
nothing you could be afraid to show your kids.
Honestly, and honest to God, fucking Lovitz being Lovitz and Carrie, it's like two cartoon characters that just happen to fucking exist in the real world. Like Lovitz's speech, the pterodactyl grew a membrane that would allow it to fly above its predators, and I, like my reptilian brethren, shall fly on to a new life. And the fucking parole board are looking at each other. What the fuck is this shit?
And Cora Cat Daddy, he's right. It has a lot of heart because there are some really and again, you're gonna be mad at me, but the one who really is the most heartwarming is Carvey because Cage has been reluctant from the start to do this, and he got conned into doing this. But Carvey, there's a scene where he's like talking about this isn't right, and then with the scene with the horse, and then when Cage is trying to persuade Lovitz, Carvey goes, "Give him my share. You can take
Yeah,
back
yeah,
my
yeah.
share."
It's no, it is. There is a sweetness to this movie, and I think more people should check it out. I think it's a hidden gem of a
And it
a
is.
holiday movie, a
And
holiday
a
movie.
comedy.
Yeah. Um. I just think I I think for me sometimes Carvey just goes a bit too. It's like God damn, this is a live action movie, not Sponge. You will you agree with me that he goes to the level of fucking some kind of pantomime cartoon cat or fucking
I will agree with you. He Carvey is kind of someone you either really dig or you really don't dig. And you just happen to be with someone I've always liked the guy. I always thought he should have been the bigger star out of the two. And I've always liked his characters a little. Like a Master of Disguise, maybe not so much, but I like him as a person. And I've seen him do like stand-up shows where he's just doing impersonations and stuff. And he's really good and really funny. And Wayne's World, I'm not the biggest Wayne's World fan, but the only part of Wayne's World I really like is his character Garth, and in the second where Chris Farley has a small cameo. Those are about the only things I like about Wayne's World, if I'm going to be honest, is Carvey. It's not Mike Myers. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's near as funny, and I never knew why did he hit bigger than Carvey. So
I I look. It's just it's like
he
I
can be
appreciate.
grating, like the care, and he
Oh,
does.
absolutely.
But see, I appreciate that. He is kind of one of those people that's going to go hard or go home. And I'm like, not everyone is fearless like that. And I appreciate that kind of fearlessness in a performance. And he does go hard every time. It's fucking ridiculous. And he's not afraid to make a fool out of himself if it'll get the laugh. And I really respect that.
I like again where he gives your man the sawn off shotgun and has him ladle the food into his mouth. Come on, don't hold back on the spatio. And the Cage is like, what the fuck are you doing?
And Cage is so good because you feel like he's had to deal with this all of his life, all this insanity
The
with both of them.
frustration.
Yeah. It's a sweet movie. I like it a lot. Oh, and we didn't even talk about Nicolas Cage's love interest, who was a horror alum, but she was in Sleepwalkers, because you were like, I recognize her. I didn't.
Yeah, she I think she's a very underdeveloped character. So the kind of side thing is Lovitz got the Lovitz got the fucking idea to rob the bank from a
fellow prisoners.
Fellow prisoners. One dude was talking about his daughter, and Lovitz wrote a letter saying, "Oh, I wish someone had visit my daughter in fucking paradise."
In Christmas.
Yeah, and then the mother's like, "Oh, you should go visit this poor girl. Her father's dying of cancer and stuff." I was like,
And I love again at the beginning of the movie, like because oh, you don't want to read that, the Lovitz's baiting Cage and stuff, and like Cage just tears up the letter without reading it and throws it out the window, and John Lovitz goes, I thought you might do that, so I made a copy. I thought that was cute, silly but cute.
again, you kind of get the feeling that if this had been a TV show, it would have been the character Lovitz coming up with a crazy scheme and Nicolas Cage having to get them out of the crazy scheme every fucking week. That
Yeah.
these and Alvin stuck in the fucking middle, like.
But I can understand. I will go. I can, because I think one of the reasons this film didn't work, and it's a shame because I actually enjoyed his performance, was I think a lot of people thought Carvey's performance was a wee bit grating.
You think?
I
Like,
liked it. Like I respect it. I thought, and I like the fact he's trying to look like Mickey Rourke.
how the fuck does he look like me? He's
I
like,
see it, Marty. I see it. I see it. I mean, it's not quite Mickey Rourke, but it kind of works.
Jed, you know what? Now I want to see an alternate cut of 9.5 weeks with Dave Carvey.
Oh God, the food scene, Marty. Imagine if that was Dana Carvey.
Whoa!
You like beans and butter. God, don't get me started on that song choice. Oh, I hate that movie.
Can you imagine him having fucking sex under a drain pipe with Kim Basinger?
Since we reminded the people, now they're going to tell us to do 9.5 weeks too, because Valentine's is coming up, darling.
We'll do it for Valentine's. You wanted to do it.
Oh, I want to do another erotic thriller, damn it.
I'm not doing necromantic.
But you promised, you said you loved me. It has a beautiful score, Marty. And people score with dead people in it. How much more romantic can you get? And they use safe sex. They do use safe sex, Marty. They put, because the corpse's penis is rot off because it's so much decomposition, so they have to use a fucking pipe, and then they put a condom over the pipe. I'm not fucking with you.
I know you're not. That's the worst part. Jesus.
And it has the most beautiful score since Cannibal Holocaust. Those score, I don't know what it was with those kind of movies back in the day, but God, they had beautiful scores.
I know it did, Cara. I know. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, could we do that? We'll do 9.5 weeks. We can't do it next year, because if we do Necromantic 1, then we have to do Necromantic 2.
No.
The first Necromantic leaves off on a cliffhanger. You have to do
I'll tell you what. I'll do Necromantic for your birthday, and I can't back out of it. And
really?
this video is evidence, and you can bring it up and go, hey, prick features, you said would do it for my birthday.
Hey, will you be down here? I'll be with you so we can watch it together. So, like, if I get in the mood, we can, bang afterwards.
I guess so.
Yay! I'm gonna get to have birthday sex after watching a corpse fucking movie. Yay! All my dreams have come true, Marty. Can we get a corpse off the road like they do in the movie? He's a corpse cleaner. That's how they get. If you're wondering how they get the body.
La 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 la.
Oh, I can't wait for my birthday, darling. I don't even care that I'm a year closer to death. And then even in death, you can still bang me. If I die, you gotta hold a thing. If I somehow die before my birthday, then you have to have birthday sex with me. Necromantic birthday sex.
Fa la 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 la. La la la
Promise
la.
me that, Marty. If I'm dead, you still have to have sex with my corpse.
Happy birthday
You don't even have to wait till my
to
birthday because I
you.
might be all
Your
squishy by
corpse
then.
is a blue. You want me to put my penis in you.
In my
Hip
dead,
hip
rotting vagina.
hooray! Hip hip hooray!
And you can stuff me with those pine scent things they hang in cars.
Oh.
I mean, you can stuff me with your penis too, but I might be kind of fragrant by that time.
Yeah, this is going into a fucking
God damn it, Jen. This is the
yeah.
first goddamn it, Jen of the new year. I love creepy, and he's like, wow.
Happy birthday to you.
Darling, if I die, you don't have to wait till my birthday. You can just have necromantic sex with me, even if it's not my birthday.
Yippee.
I love creepy just went, wow.
What else could he fucking say? What else could you fucking say? Call the cops? I don't fucking know.
So we watch it together, right? I have your promise we watch it together.
Yeah, for your birthday, we'll watch it together.
Yay. Yeah. I'm so happy, Marty. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Was
Preferably
that like
alive.
an extra Christmas present just for me? Was that my last?
Jesus, okay. Aye.
You didn't have to get me this necklace, darling. You could have just given me corpse fucking. That was enough.
Nah. Nah.
Oh, I'll have to wear something super seductive.
A body bag.
Ooh, actually, you're kind of reading my mind. That's spooky that you do that.
What was the one that was wrapped up in tarp in fucking Twin Peaks? What was her name again?
Oh God, what was her name? If Christian were here, he could tell. He could rattle.
Guys, who was the chick that was wrapped in tarp that the whole fucking investigation in Twin Peaks was bit? Laura Palmer. I think it was Laura Palmer. I think so. I could be wrong.
I think you're right. I think you are right. But were we talking about Nicolas Cage and not corpse? We were talking a cage, not corpse.
Oh, yeah, and you know what? Now Dana Carvey doesn't seem so fucking bad. No.
Imagine, too bad Dana Carvey couldn't have gotten in a corpse fucking movie. He could have done the voice, and then they would have just did all the trifectas.
Oh.
That was hard.
Yes, it did take a left turn, all right.
Marty, no, there's pipe in it. We're gonna talk about safe sex, and then there's a rabbit. It's art.
So long as the rabbit isn't killed. If the rabbit's killed, I'm not watching the movie.
It's backwards.
The rabbit's brought back to life?
No, it's backward. Well, actually, yes. Actually, you're right. Yeah, you'll see it's backwards. Anyway, it's okay because like for the director, I know this because I did a real deep dive. If anyone is really curious to get all the deep dives of necromantic,
no, save all the deep dive for necromantic for the necromantic review. Is there anything else people should know about Trapped in Paradise?
Just that, like I said, this one was kind of literally by this, and it feels like it because I do feel like there are some scenes that I think, and it's not just, although Cage definitely.
Was it ever kind of explained why Gallo didn't want to direct this? He hated the script, and he just was like, "Fuck it,
I don't know.
I'm under contract." He
know.
must have been under contract, and like, "Oh, I'm fucking stuck with this." And, hey, do what you want.
That's kind of the feeling I get. I just from what, like I said, this a lot of this is coming from Lovett's tea spilling. I would imagine if he just basically said, because they said they didn't get any direct. There's a chunk of the movie that literally it was Cage that did most of the directing on this film, and that he just told him, do what you want, which isn't always bad. I mean, some of the greatest directors. I mean, there are some that are control freaks and they make great movies, but there have been some that have been a lot more looser with their actors. Scorsese kind of gives free reign, so it just depends on the director's style. It works
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, no, this is a fun movie. I think if you want to show something to your kids, watch something with your kids on Christmas, even if they're really young, like even like fucking 8, 9, 10, 11. I think
I think so too.
I don't think they'd be bored because it's like, hey, this is going to be boring. And then Dane Carvey turns into fucking Roger Rabbit and the kids are fucking enthralled.
But to be fair, it's not just the whole thing, and then there's situational things that happen in the script that are a little fantastical, but it's a fun movie, and it's definitely that time of year where, like poor Cat Dad said earlier, it has a lot of heart, and that's
Yeah.
something you want at Christmas. Most people don't want something super heavy, especially if they're watching with their kids. They want something a little more hopeful with a little heart, and this movie definitely hits all those things. And again, there are some really funny scenes. It goes on. For my only big con is I think we could have trimmed it down just a little bit, and I think it would have been a bit of a stronger movie. But that's my only real con.
Jen, who's your favorite character in the movie?
Dana Carvey. I'm sorry. I think he's fearless. I respect the dude because he's not afraid to make a fool out of himself. And not every actor's like that. Not every comedian's like that.
You
and
know what you're getting from the time because he comes on and he's this big swell in his cheek, and I'm like, his character supposed? Is it a gumball or a golf ball? He just has these mouth.
I think it's a gumball. I think
he just like spits it out. And you're like, what the fuck?
He has a childlike quality that I like about him too. There's like a childlike quality. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think it's a bad film at all, but even as a kid, I was saying, okay, this is a little bit long, but there's so many good parts in it that you just can't be mad at it. The good outweighs the bad, at least for me, in this movie.
No, it's fun and it's cute, and like I'm minding my niece and nephew there, and we're probably going to be the last day the Christmas tree is up, so I might actually show them this. Yeah, because it's. Sorry,
I didn't mean to cut you off, Marty, but watch him go. Oh, Uncle Martin, who's that one dude? We think he's really funny.
Oh no!
God damn it, Jen.
That's Dana Carvey. Why couldn't you introduce me something cool like you did before, like with Walker Hayes, Fancy Like Christmas?
You fucking dick.
Go Jesus. It's your birthday.
Fuck you, Marty. Fuck you. That God.
Fancy like Christmas. Fancy like Christmas.
Marty has lost his mind. Consider you all probably had bets how long it would be dealing with me on a daily basis, but Marty has finally fucking lost his mind.
Excuse me, Dad. I played that tune at a Christmas party and said, "Hey,"
and everyone said, "Please, never again."
No, they dug us. And I said, "Don't thank me. It's Jen Mitchell that you really have to thank."
You were such a dick. You're my dick, and I love you, but you're still a dick.
Fancy like Christmas.
Oh, damn it, Marty. I hate that line. I hate that song. I hate that line.
What? Go Jesus, it's your birthday. That is instrumental gold. That is lyrical fucking genius.
Well, people, you tuned in for a Trapped at Paradise, and you got Necromantic and Walker Hayes thrown in his sides. We have not, if you guys were worried we were going to change our format for 2024, I think this stream should make you guys breathe a lot easier tonight, or go, God damn it. Lose all hope. Either
way. What's actually, before we finish, is there anything that any movies? Right, we're going to do Necromantic.
For my
birthday. We're going to do 9.5 Weeks too. Mm-hmm. I want to do Hawk the Slayer.
I want to do Apocalypto sometime this year.
Okay, we'll do Apocalypto.
Yay!
Um, but also, guys, I am going to do a thing, right? Where if you guys want to leave in the comments what ye think we should do, I'm probably going to live to regret this too. So, if you want us to review what ye think classifies as a trash fire, leave it in the comments as well, and we'll have a look.
Do they have to pay us for certain things? Because there's only certain movies I'll only do for money.
No, 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 no.
Then you'll have to do sexual favors.
Is it?
Three? You mean Three Ninjas, or is this another
No,
movie?
there is a movie with little people called Ninjas 3 where they're actually people,
Keep tabs
staturally
on.
deficient people. Is
Okay.
it the one with the small ninja dwarves, Cara, you're talking about? Because I think there's a movie called Ninjas 3 with dwarf ninjas.
That is so sexy that you know that, darling. I am weirdly turned on that you just knew that right out of the bat. That turns me on.
As much as it turns you on that I was able to determine. Oh, Ninja the Domination Part 3. We'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Where there's a sex scene with V8.
Oh, and you've talked to me about this. I think you and Cara both have talked to me about this one time or another. Yeah, I remember y'all telling me about this.
And she literally tries to exorcise the demon out of her.
Ooh.
I want to do Hawk the Slayer, which is,
I knew you did.
It's it's brilliant. It's you've got these badasses. You've got a giant that's just a really tall bloke and a dwarf that's just kind of short, and an elf who can reload so fast it almost looks like a jump cut. And there's a witch who fires silly string out her magic staff, and Jack Palance has a tea strainer on his eye.
I know that one. You mentioned it before. And we might throw in some serious ones, guys. We might have a couple of serious discussions about some movies we love because we enjoy talking about. We can talk about fun movies and schlock movies, but occasionally we like to get on and talk about more serious film occasionally.
We do the old intellectual talking picture every once in a while.
Once in a blue moon. When Marty can't take, my perversion and going, hey, Marty, I swear they only fuck one baby. It's okay. They only fuck one baby in this movie, not two.
Meanwhile, Jen, they're going to be in a forest firing lasers at each other.
It's kind of our compromise. The serious movies are when both of me and Marty are sick of each other's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like I'm tired of your filth and you're tired of my schlock.
Somehow it all works out, though.
Yeah, we're nearly at 50. We've nearly done 50 trash fires. That's excluding these. So
yeah, but they're always a good time. Hopefully you guys think so too, because Marty and I always have fun playing together.
And next year we'll probably do a Festive Flicks again for Christmas, and hopefully we'll be in the same location doing them. So
I hope so.
But yeah, no. With that, I'm going to end it here. But Jen, is there anything coming out tomorrow or the day after? I know your best of 2023 went up on New Year's Eve, but is there anything coming out soon?
Not for Christian and I are going to take we are going to get back on the old movie horse, but we are going to take a couple of days just to rest and
well-deserved break, because you guys have been an absolute fucking powerhouse, especially with everything that was going on.
Thank you, darling. And but if you haven't seen our top 10 video, we put a lot of hard work in it, and we're real pleased. And there might be a few movies on our list that you won't see on a lot of other top 10 lists. That's one thing where Christian and I, we always love the movies, but we do try to find stuff that not everyone else has talked about or heard about, because that's what we love bringing you guys. We like to bring you undiscovered gems, so you might want to check it out, guys.
Cool beans, cool.
What about you, darling?
I still have Shadow Weaver that you sent me to review. I might do a micro review of Slave Leia. Not Slave Leia, Boosh Leia in her bounty hunter
I'll be your
costume.
slave.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look, after the stream. And then I have some other ideas for stuff. I do think I might do my favorite Dark Horse Predator stories because, Disney want to fucking bury them all because they're fucking soft and they don't realize that some stuff is actually important to preserve and not fucking hide the uglier nature of society. Sorry, I'm probably gonna go on a fucking tirade, but I just think it's wrong getting rid of stories because they're like, again, they're comic book stories. They don't really have much in the way of kind of intellectual discourse, but at the same time, they are important for people to go, oh yeah, that shit happened, and like, we shouldn't fucking bury it because it's an ugly part of our history. Sorry, Jen.
Oh, no, no, I was cutting into you. I just was gonna say, I would disagree with you about it having intellectual properties. A lot of a story, no matter what it is, if it matters, it matters. And that's and comic books, is are a way for a lot of people to, get invested, and sometimes they're a great gateway. Like that you'll read the classic comics, and sometimes people will read the real thing because they dug the comics so much. Or sometimes people who have trouble reading, this is a good way for them to it's a safer way to,
No,
world of reading.
I mean that as well. I think some people kind of roll their eyes and stuff, and as I said, I appreciate you backing me up on that sentiment as well. But my worry is if you start like with comics, then
What's next?
what
What's
what's
next?
next? Like,
Yeah.
Alistair MacLean wrote a bunch of fucking war novels, fictional war novels. Are they gone? And it starts working its way up the totem pole. It's like, oh, we gotta stop printing fucking, we gotta stop printing copies of Boy in the Striped Pajamas because there's Nazis in it. The point of the fucking story is to show these fucking people were heinous and
And
like,
never to happen again. And there are people, like, I know it's really hard to believe, but there is a good little group of people out there who still think, oh, that's just propaganda that's made up. It didn't really happen. There are people out there who really do that, who believe that more
oh,
than there should be in this day and age.
yeah. Like, again, I don't see the point of Dark Horse getting rid of that stuff. I think it's wrong. And you're like, oh, but it's representation of the Nazis. Do you know the great thing about those stories is, lads, eh, the Predator, the villain of the fucking story, he ends up fucking being the good guy because he murders the shit out of Nazis, Confederates, racists. It's like, you know what?
Mhm.
That guy killed half my team, but he's an okay guy in my book.
Well, it's true. And Creepy just said half the required reading when he was in school is banned now. I mean, and depending on what state you live in, a lot of books, and sometimes books are all kids have. Like sometimes parents don't want to, expose their kids to certain things, and religious and teachers and stuff. It's a slippery goddamn slope. So I totally, it's a scary world we live in. And sometimes we'll read or see things that we don't necessarily agree with, but censorship is a dangerous slope and stuff. And again, sometimes the books are the only source you have, because you can't go to your parents, you can't go to anybody else. At least you can find stuff in books, and books won't judge you or rat you out. So it's a scary world.
Um, yeah, going back, this was one of the books that was banned recently. It's a comic. It's by Art Spiegelman. It won a Pulitzer Prize. It's essentially showing um the writer Art Spiegelman. His father survived a concentration camp, and as not to kind of traumatize his father, he changed the species of the different nations. The Jews were mice, the Nazis were cats, and apparently it's been taken off library. It's been taken out of libraries and been taken off sale in the States.
But
If
that would
you
be a
have,
great one for younger kids that might not be ready for the real thing, but to kind of, start to introduce them to what happened in a
it
safer
does
way.
not water it down, Jen. I will tell you, it does not water down the atrocities. Um, But if you find this book out in the wild, if you find it in a charity shop or a secondhand shop, please pick it up. Please buy it because uh, this is apparently getting harder and harder to find. Um, I think some of the printing houses are under pressure to cease printing it.
Mm.
So if you can get your hands on a copy
I
of
believe Christian picked it up a while ago because they really love the book too, and I think they got a copy and they wanted to keep it because they knew about this too.
again, it's one thing to try and kind of shield children from the horrors of the world, but it's another thing to make them ignorant of said
It's a
horrors.
it's a disservice. Like, me, I wanna that's one reason why I homeschool is because of certain things, and I want my kids to get I don't want the world to take it away. I want to give them all the confidence and love and nurturing and not have the world take it away, and I want them to be kind people. But at the same time, you're doing a disservice. You got to also show that the world can suck sometimes, and sometimes people can suck, and this is what happens. And you turn it into a learning experience, and you're not doing your kids any favors by trying to shelter them. Me of all people saying this, but you get what I mean.
Also, I apologize, guys. I know this is supposed to be a more chill, kind of relaxed stream discussing the movie about Dan Carvey and John Lovitz stealing money in a sleepy town in America. But yeah, this is a fantastic book. And if you see it, pick it up. Don't let this book kind of fall into obscurity or disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't read comics, I know not everyone's into comics. Please pick this up because
It's important.
yeah, it is. It is very important. With that, I'm going to end the stream here. Big thanks to everyone who tuned in. Creepy McGee, an acolyte to us always. You are fantastic. Thank you so much. The fantastic horror retrospective, Cara. Horror Cat Dad, a man with a collection to rival myself. And that's no easy feat, particularly because of this fucking lady here fucking overdosing me with action figures. Who else
I
had
have no idea
we?
what he's talking about. We had Wobbs and we had Van of Horror
Yeah,
and probably some other people that were lurking in the shadows.
with a trench coat, hiding their
Hopefully.
genitals.
And a penis in their hand. Or a vagina, clitoris. We're not sexist on this channel. It's harder though to rub out your clit, like the way you do a penis. You can do it, but you gotta stretch it out.
Jen, do girls have scrotes?
Ask the chat, darling. Ask the chat.
I want your explanation.
Off stream, darling, off stream.
Okay, so with that, we'll end it here. And
thank
yeah,
you for joining us from our first 2024.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast.
It was.
It was a blast, and I was joking about the scrot thing. I know. I was trying to embarrass her, but I don't think such a thing is possible. You can't. You can't fucking embarrass her.
Have a good one, Cara. Thank you for tuning in.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Penis.
And as Walker Hayes says, go Jesus, it's your birthday. Bye now.
Fuck you, Marty.